constantly surrounded by stuff, right? And increasingly, the big question isn't just what something does, but what it does to the planet.
Exactly.
So today, we're diving deep into a material that's really trying to answer that call. Polypropylene carbonate, PPC.
That's right. And we've got this really detailed 2025 market report that's going to be our guide.
Okay.
Our goal here is basically to unpack where the global PPC market is right now and, get a clear picture of where it seems to be heading.
So we're talking market size, growth drivers.
Yeah, exactly. What's fueling growth, the challenges, the restraints, the key trends shaping its future, who the main players are, and sort of how things look region by region.
Okay, let's get into it. This full report, it really gets into the weeds, doesn't it? Like how PPC actually comes, pellets, films, that kind of thing, and where it ends up, adhesives, packaging.
Yeah, it covers the forms, the applications, even drills down to specific countries and competitors.
But for this deep dive, we really want to pull out the essential insights for you listening. So where do we start? What's the headline number?
Okay, the big one. The report forecasts the global polypropylene carbonate market to hit USD $296.34 million in 2025.
All right, nearly $300 million. That gives us a solid anchor point. And where's that number expected to go? Is it growing?
Oh, yeah, the projections are quite strong. It anticipates pretty significant growth. We're looking at a CAGR that's a compound annual growth rate of 6.20% from 2025 right through to 2033.
6.2%.
Which means by 2033, the market could reach, USD $479.498 million.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a jump. So what's behind that kind of growth? What makes PPC a material to watch?
Well, there's several key things pushing this. A really major one is just the growing demand for more sustainable plastics.
Right. You hear about that everywhere.
Yeah, there's a big push, from consumers, but also from regulators to move away from traditional plastics that, frankly, have a bigger environmental footprint.
Absolutely. That focus on greener alternatives is hard to ignore. So how does PPC fit into that shift?
Well, this is where the regulations come in. Increasingly strict environmental laws are a real catalyst here. Governments worldwide are putting policies in place that, encourage using biodegradable alternatives. And PPC fits that bill.
Like banning single-use plastics.
Exactly. Things like single-use plastic bans or those extended producer responsibility programs, EPR schemes.
Right, where the maker is responsible for the product's end of life.
Precisely. That creates a real incentive to use materials like PPC that break down more easily.
That makes a lot of sense. Rules can definitely speed up adoption. What else is helping it grow?
Another key driver is just the widening range of applications for PPC.
Okay.
We're seeing it used more and more in coatings, adhesives, even in different kinds of packaging solutions. So its versatility really helps broaden its potential market.
So it's not just one niche driving it. It's like a wider uptake across industries. Now, this is interesting. You mentioned those bigger shifts like consumer awareness and companies wanting to be greener. How do those connect?
Oh, they're very closely linked. You've got growing consumer awareness creating actual demand for eco-friendly products. And then companies are responding, setting targets for things like carbon neutrality. PPC, being biodegradable, lines up perfectly with those goals. It's a tangible way for businesses to cut their environmental impact.
Right. You can't just say you're green. You need the actual materials to make it happen.
Okay, but it can't all be smooth sailing. What are the main hurdles, the challenges the PPC market faces?
Yeah, the report points out a couple of key restraints. One is the cost. The raw materials needed to make PPC can be expensive, and the manufacturing processes themselves are, complex.
Cost is always a big factor.
It definitely affects how competitive PPC can be against some traditional, cheaper plastics.
Are there other roadblocks? Yes. Another thing mentioned is relatively low market adoption, partly because people just aren't that familiar with how PPC can be used yet.
The new kid on the block problem?
Sort of. It's newer than many conventional plastics, so educating potential users about its benefits and where it fits in. That's really important for wider acceptance.
Understandable. People often stick with what they know. Okay, so we've got the drivers, the challenges. What about the key trends? What's really shaping PPC's future path?
Well, building on those drivers, the rising demand for plastic alternatives that aren't just eco-friendly but specifically biodegradable is a huge trend.
Right. It's moving beyond just recyclable.
Exactly. It's becoming less of a niche and more of a mainstream expectation,
Absolutely. Consumers are definitely voting with their wallets on environmental factors. What other trends are standing out?
The report really highlights the expanding use of PPC in coatings and adhesives, like we mentioned, but also, interestingly, in biomedical applications.
Biomedical. Wow, tell me more about that. That sounds fascinating.
It is. Think about things like biodegradable polymers for drug delivery inside the body, or maybe for temporary medical implants that dissolve away. PPC shows real promise there.
Why PPC specifically?
Well, a key thing is its ability to degrade into non-toxic byproducts within the body. That's a big advantage over some traditional polymers. Researchers are also looking into its biocompatibility for things like tissue engineering.
Okay, that's pretty cutting edge.
And back in coatings and adhesives, things like nanotechnology, making materials super small for better properties and developing smart materials, are also pushing PPC forward, giving it better durability, other advanced features.
Okay, so the future looks bright with those trends. Let's zoom out a bit now. The global picture. How's the PPC market spread out geographically, say, for 2025?
Right. So in 2025, North America is projected to have the biggest slice of the pie, over 40% of global revenue.
40%, okay.
That translates to about USD 74.09 million. Europe's next, over 30%. Then Asia Pacific with around 23%. South America, the Middle East, Africa, they have smaller shares for now.
North America leading the pack. What's the story there? Why so big?
The report points to a few things. Rapid industrialization, the strong electronics sector, and critically, that increasing demand for biodegradable plastics we talked about.
Okay. And what about growth rate? Where's the market expanding fastest?
That's where Asia Pacific comes in. It's projected to be the fastest growing region.
Really?
Yeah, with a CAGR of 7.8% between 2025 and 2033. Its market size in 2025 is expected to be around USD 130.39 million.
Wow, almost double North America size in 2025, despite having a smaller share. Wait, let me reread those numbers. I see. APAC market size, $130.39. North America, $74.09 in 2025. My mistake. So APAC is actually larger in 2025 and growing faster.
Yes, apologies if that was unclear. Let me check the numbers again. Yes, you're absolutely right. APAC's 2025 market size is projected at $130.39 million, making it the largest region, and it's the fastest growing at 7.8% CAGR. North America is second largest at $74.09 million in 2025, growing at 4.4%. Europe is $62.23 million, growing at 4.5%. My previous percentage breakdown might have been based on a slightly different metric or year in the source. Thanks for catching that.
No problem. Okay, so APAC is the big story, both in size and speed. Why there?
A lot of it is down to huge demand in packaging and automotive industries. Yeah, especially in China and India.
Right, aligns with the massive economic growth there. How are the other regions looking growth-wise?
Well, Europe's expected to grow at about 4.5% CAGR with that $62.23 million size in 2025. South America is looking at 6.5% CAGR, around $11.26 million. The Middle East, 6.7% CAGR, about $11.85 million. And Africa is projected at 5.9% CAGR, starting from $6.52 million in 2025.
Really interesting seeing those different speeds and the reasons behind them. Okay, the report also slices the market by the form PPC comes in. Can you unpack that for us?
Sure. It's segmented by form into pellet, aqueous dispersion emulsion, film, and then others, which is mostly solutions. Right now, pellets dominate.
Pellets, like little plastic beads.
Exactly. Small, uniform granules. They're easy to melt down and process into different things, much like traditional plastic pellets.
And why are pellets the top dog right now?
The report suggests it's mostly processing efficiency, consistency, and just ease of handling and manufacturing. They're convenient for making biodegradable plastics, adhesives, coatings, lots of stuff.
Got it. And what about the other forms you mentioned, aqueous dispersion?
Yeah, aqueous dispersion emulsion. That segment's highlighted as growing really rapidly.
Okay.
These are more like liquid suspensions of PPC. They're seen as very eco-friendly. They can form films well, and they're used in coatings, adhesives, packaging.
What's the eco-friendly angle there?
A big advantage is reduced VOC emissions, volatile organic compounds. Those are harmful air pollutants you often get with traditional solvent-based coatings. Using these water-based dispersions cuts that down significantly.
So that lower VOC thing really loops back to the whole sustainability driver, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly. How is PPC actually being used? What are the main applications?
Right, so the market's also segmented by application. You've got solvents, binders and adhesives and coatings, Li-ion batteries, cleaners and degreasers, textile dyeing, biodegradable plastics, ceramics, and then an others category including cosmetics.
And which one leads the pack there?
Currently, the solvents category has the biggest market share.
Solvents. That's interesting. Why is PPC good as a solvent?
Well, it performs well, it's biodegradable, and it has low toxicity. That makes it a pretty attractive, greener alternative to traditional petrochemical solvents.
Where would you find it used as a solvent?
In things like coatings, paints, adhesives, cleaning agents. But it's also finding growing use in cosmetics, electronics, even pharmaceuticals as a safer option.
Okay. And which application areas are growing the fastest?
That would be the binders and adhesives and coatings segment. It's seeing rapid growth.
Why that segment particularly?
Again, it's the biodegradability, good adhesion properties, and low toxicity. It makes PPC really well suited for paints, sealants, and applications in packaging, automotive, construction, basically anywhere there's that growing push for more sustainable materials.
So yeah, sustainability is just a really powerful thread running through all of this, isn't it? Both the forms and the uses.
Definitely.
Now let's talk about the companies. Who are the main players? What's the competitive landscape like?
The report calls the market moderately competitive. The key companies are really focusing on innovation and, unsurprisingly, sustainability to get an edge.
Any specific names we should know?
Some of the major players mentioned are Empower Materials, SK Innovation, Jiangsu Zhongke Jinlong CAS Chemical, Novolmer, and the big one, BASF.
Okay, a mix of established giants and maybe some more specialized players. Are there any recent moves, like partnerships or new products that kind of show where things are headed?
Yeah, a few interesting examples. Like in February 2025, BASF launched these product carbon footprints for their plastic additives.
What does that mean exactly?
It basically calculates the total greenhouse gas emissions for a product across its life cycle. It shows a clear commitment to transparency and reducing environmental impact.
I see.
And then back in August 2023, there was news about Tesla collaborating with Eastman Chemical on using propylene carbonate in EVs.
In electric vehicles, wow.
Yeah, highlights PPC is becoming relevant even in the high-tech automotive sector. And going back a little further, September 2022, Balaji Amines started commercial production of propylene carbonate in India, which helps expand the global supply.
Those are some really concrete examples. Shows it's not just theoretical growth, it's actually happening. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To bring it all together, what are the main takeaways from this deep dive?
Okay, summing up. The global PPC market is definitely set for solid growth. The big driver, that increasing demand for sustainable plastics, backed up by environmental regulations worldwide.
Right.
Regionally, Asia-Pacific is the powerhouse largest market and fastest growing. North America is significant too. Form-wise, pellets are common now, but watch out for those aqueous dispersions growing fast because they're greener.
And applications.
Solvents are the biggest use currently, but binders, adhesives, and coatings are this segment really picking up speed, again, driven by sustainability needs.
And just hitting those key numbers one last time, forecast to be USD 296.34 million in 2025.
Correct.
Growing at that 6.2% CAGR to reach nearly USD 480 million by 2033. It really paints a picture of a market gaining serious momentum.
It really does. And, it makes you think, considering this growth and the whole global push for sustainability, what other innovative chemicals might be bubbling under the surface right now? What could be the next PPC poised to become a key player in making our future more environmentally friendly? Maybe looking into what's happening in university labs or startup incubators. Perhaps that's where you'd find the next big material breakthrough just waiting for its moment. Something for you to ponder.